Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Alanna Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope that you're doing really well in this very moment in time, and all moments actually, and that whenever and wherever you happen to be on this globe at the moment, when you're hearing this, that you're remembering to be open to all of the changes in life. We are going through some massive changes. You heard the show last night, more than likely, and you heard from the Arcturians where they talked about what our future holds, and we have a lot of work to get going on. And this past week, I finally saw that Why So Serious 24D has another video on YouTube. That's Sarah O'Brien, and she said that about 4 days ago there was a massive wave, and this is bringing up surface stuff, or below the surface stuff, right? Stuff that we didn't know we were upset about, or things that we've repressed, things that we need to clear out and let go of. And the more you welcome the changes, she was saying, and the more that you welcome the changing of yourself and of your negative stuff and your sad stuff and your traumatic stuff, the more you're willing to face it head on and feel whatever emotion appropriate to that thing and then letting it go, the faster you're able to change it, the more willing you're able to change yourself, the more willing you are able to let it go, the better off you're going to be, because the world, the universe, the energy of Mother Earth Gaia, the energy from the sun, the cosmic rays, all of it is here to help you change. And if you don't let go, she was talking about this, she said, if you don't let go and you stubbornly refuse to change the things that your internal guidance is telling you to change, whether it's your lifestyle or your diet or the city you live in or your job, you're going to go through some dramatic crap that you don't deserve because you don't feel like making a change, right? So she was saying that there was a interplanetary I don't know what she said, boom, or there was like an explosion. It's a shockwave, that's it, interplanetary shockwave. There's been several, and the last one hit us about 4 or 5 days ago. And that was part of what was making us so erratic and so emotional and feeling so hopeless and sad until we could work through our stuff. Also, it was rattling our cages, right? Shaking some debris loose that we might not have seen, we might not have known was there. And what's happening now is we're getting ready in 3 days. On the 12th, there's going to be another one at the 12/12 portal, as some people are calling it. On 12/12, there's going to be even more of this massive energy coming our way. So I want you guys to understand that it's important and imperative for you to be willing to change, make the changes, accept the changes, accept the stuff that comes to the surface. That's a part of your story. Even if it's not a story you like, you don't have to keep it. You can let it go. As soon as you acknowledge it, accept it, go through whatever it is you need to go through, whether it's grief. Grief is the 5 stages: depression, anger, bargaining. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance are the 5 stages of grief. And you might have to feel those things. Don't be afraid to feel the things. Don't push them into your body and make yourself less or more dense. Just go, you know what? Well, this sucks, and let's do it. Don't deny it. Don't stay in denial a long time, because that will make it worse, right? And bargaining doesn't always work, and anger, it works. It's active. Depression is passive. So don't stay in depression too long or sadness. You got to work through it to get to the acceptance. If you're okay right now while you're hearing this message in this moment, you can breathe. You might have enough money in your pocket to eat or in your bank account, and you have a place to live and you've got clothes. The sun is shining at least for a few hours a day where you live. You might have some people that you call your own, whether they're your children or your fur babies or your parents, maybe in some cases. Some of you still have your parents around, or your family or your friends, even co-workers that you have a fondness or an affection for. Count your blessings, even if they're minor, even if there's just a few of them. Be grateful for it and know that those blessings are there for you now, and they're going to be there for you tomorrow, and they're going to be there for you in 5 minutes, and they're going to be there for you in 5 weeks and in 5 years. And if those friends go away, you'll get new friends. There'll be more people. You know, God keeps making more and more people. There's always going to be people, and in a couple years, we're going to have people from other planets here. And those might become your people. Maybe those already are your people. You just don't know it yet. But we need to accept all of the changes. I freaking hate change, for one. It's hard. It sucks. I want things to be blissfully the same every single day. I want my only change to be if I have a different kind of chicken recipe or something. That's what I wish the world could be. That I didn't have to be aware of all this cosmic crap. I want to just be like, all right, I feel safe because my blanket is warm. I'm inside. I have a key to my house and my door is locked and no one can come inside. You know, that's what I wish. I wish I could wake up every morning and see the sunshine, feel it on my face, and be able to see the world and know that everything's okay, you know? What I wish if I could go back in time, I wish my husband had never died. I wish we had still been together. But it's hard. Change is freaking hard. And I had to accept all of those changes. And you guys know my story. If you've been with me for a while, you know my story. So the thing is, though, I accept my story, even the crappiest parts of it. You know, where I was betrayed by adults, basically. You know, put into the charge and care of people who did the worst possible things that an adult can do to a child. Like those kinds of things, right? But I accept the new knowledge that's coming through. I accept the changes that have happened. I just accept it. And I accept my future no matter what it holds, right? You know, if my future is that I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life and then die alone, then I have to do that, right? Doesn't mean I'm going to stop looking for love. I still am, still looking. You know, I thought I found somebody who I thought was going to be with me, and he wants to be with me. He even said, I want to be with you and I want everything with you, and right now I can't do it. And I'm like, all right, he's got other things that he's got to do in his life, changes he's got to accept in his life, and he's working his butt off. I mean, I see him working on it, but you know, so I'm just kind of there with it, like, all right, cool. I'm not going to lock myself up, you know, in the hopes that his future is going to be in conclusion with mine. You know, if I get someone asking me out this week, all right. You know, if I feel like there's something there, I might go out. We'll see. You know, I'm accepting the changes and I'm rolling with the punches, even though they're punches. I've kind of always hated that. I mean, has anyone ever said, you got to roll with the punches? Got to roll with the punches. I mean, what does that really mean? When you're a boxer, that means that while somebody is pummeling you, you're supposed to roll away from them while they continue to pummel you. That's what rolling with the punches means. Or does it mean that you're on the ground in a street fight and you have to roll away from the person who's repeatedly punching you? No matter what. What does it mean, roll with the punches? I mean, the only other thing I could think of it means is if you keep drinking punch and you're so fat and so round from drinking so much punch that you're literally rolling with the punches inside you. Like rum punch, please. It's really weird, right? Roll with the punches. I've always hated that. And I've never really thought it through, or what could that possibly mean? Where does it come from? I think it comes from boxing. You just roll the punches, roll the punches. I don't want to roll around while people are punching me. But that's what life is like, right? You just got to keep rolling along, rocking and rolling. Be a rolling stone, and it's all about change. All of those things are about change. All of those weird dichos, the sayings in our language, they're just so weird, but we've got to keep rolling with the punches. Roll with the hunches is what I think. Actually, we should say that. Let's roll with our hunches. And I don't mean our hunched back. Sit up straight, Elena. We have to roll with the hunches. Roll with our intuitions. That's not what I meant to say. There's a whole other crazy Freudian slip there. Roll with our intuitions. Roll with our intuitions. I'm just kidding. Intuitions. Why did I say that? The intuitions. Oh, there we go. That's why. Wishes. Roll into wishes. Roll into our wishes. That's true. We got to roll with our intuition. That's going to lead to our wishes. See, there you go. Yeah, see, I knew it was a Freudian slip for some reason. I mean, sound like I said roll into inches. It's like 2 inches. No, roll that back out of my room again. I don't want that. Just roll that thing back out of here. I don't want to see it. No. No, but we have to roll with our hunches. Get away from the punches, So, I mean, if things are hurting you in a way that is just hurting you, don't continue to do that. Man is the only creature that, will continuously say yes to something that's saying no back to him. We continuously, we repeat ourselves, we repeat our behavior again and again and again, and always expecting different results. And that's the definition of stupidity, right? I went to work again. My boss is a dick again. I went to work again. The boss was a dick again. I went to the work and I wore a different shirt. And I brought in a cake for everybody. And guess what? The boss is a dick again. No matter what I do, no matter what I try, the boss is a dick again. That's the definition of stupidity. Don't go to that work anymore. Get yourself fired, something. Pull your pants down at work. That'll probably do it. And then you could go on unemployment. I'm just kidding. I'm not advocating nudity at work, okay? It's a joke. Don't do that. Don't advocate it, but it is kind of funny. But yeah, rolling with the hunches, baby. Just roll with your intuition and your gut instincts, I've had friends that just move across country based on a hunch that's going to be a better life or a better thing for them. And even if it's not, that might be the way station or the next step to the next step, right? So I've done it. I've rolled with some hunches I've had, and they're not all good hunches, but they did give me interesting experiences. Not all my experiences have been good, but some of my decisions led to greater insights into things. Some of my decisions led me down roads I didn't really want to go. Like we all do. Sometimes we make decisions of things that we're just like, that was weird, but it also gives you strength to get out of a dead end if you turn down a dead end road. You know, when you go down something and you go through something hard, then it gives you the strength to get back out of it, right? If you get down, you get back up again. You know, I get knocked down, but I get up again. Yeah, that song. I love that song. I get knocked down, but I get up again. Whenever I get knocked down, I get knocked down, but I get up again. Whenever I get knocked down. You know that song? I don't know if that's even the right words, but you know what I mean. That's just what you gotta do. You gotta roll with the changes. You know, just accept the changes. If you accept that life is nothing but a series of changes, you're never gonna be disappointed. But if you accept that life is your own picture in your mind of how it's supposed to be, then when the picture changes, you're going to be really dissatisfied, disappointed, sometimes downright pissed off, or even depressed, you know, if you go the active or the passive way. I mean, everyone does something different. And things change. That's all life is. Change. There was a professor that I had in University of North Dakota, and he wrote about the Tao Te Ching, and he talked about Buddhism, and he was super amazing. And East and Western religions was the name of the class. I've talked about this class before. But in his book that he wrote, that I had up until a couple years ago, actually, and I had it for like 30 years. Anyway, this book he wrote, he said, you can't change because change is always changing. You can't change because change is always changing. I mean, it's like one of the coolest things I'd ever heard in my life. Freaked me out. When I was 18, I was like, dude, that's so deep. That's so profound. Oh my God. And that became like almost a motto for me for a long time. Because I hate freaking change. I hate it. I hate when my body starts to look a little bit old. I hate when I gain weight. I hate when I have to freaking move. I hate when I have to clean my house, when I don't do much to dirty it, and suddenly there's dust everywhere. I didn't freaking put that there. I freaking hate that. That's like the biggest change I hate the most. It's like, why does that keep changing? I didn't put the dust there. I didn't tell the dust to go there. Why is it there? It didn't ask me permission to move in. It's not paying rent. Why did you come here, dust? But there it is. There's always something that changes in your life every freaking day. And it's annoying as hell to me as a Virgo. I want everything to be exactly perfect. But nothing in this world is perfect. And that's why we came, because it's so crazy and exciting and wild. And you never know what's going to happen. And the world is full of surprises. I don't always like surprises. I like some surprises. I do like some surprises. But I wanted to read you guys a quote that I thought was hilarious. It had nothing to do with what I'm saying. But I came across this quote, and this is taken from The Art and Science of Personal Magnetism by Theron Q. Dumont. And he wrote this, and I saw this and it made me laugh so hard. I love, I guess it was a quote actually that was in the Chicago paper in an editorial. So someone in Chicago like 100 years ago said this, and I thought this was hilarious. So it's worth repeating. They said, and probably a woman said this, there are men in this country in abundance, but good men, while in great demand, are as scarce as the clams in a chowder at a church supper. I laugh because I felt like, oh my God, even 100 years ago, somebody was thinking that exact same thing I mean, as I've been saying, like, it's so hard to find a good man, for anything, or a good woman for anything. You don't have to, you could replace the word man with woman, good partner, business partner, a good love partner, life partner, good friend, a deeply personal, good friend with good integrity. You could replace the word men with just about any of those things, right? There are men in this country in abundance, but good men, while in great demand, are as scarce as the clams in a chowder at a church supper. I don't know why. I grew up going to church suppers, and it's like, did they purposely bring their crappiest casseroles, or are these people not able to cook? I'm just kidding. It wasn't that bad. Sometimes though, sometimes I'm like, why did they even make this? Why would these ingredients ever go together? Why would they believe that? I never complained out loud in person, but I was sitting there to myself, quietly chuckling with all the things I was thinking. Oh my God, it was just it was bad. And my stepmom would be like, oh, you want to take this? Because she knew the person who made things, even though she knew they were terrible. And there was a trash in the kids' room where we would go to eat. And I mean, we'd all be like, oh, this is really good. Thank you, Mrs. Whoever. And then they would turn around, leave the room, and we'd be throwing that in the trash. It's there's no way in hell we're going to eat that. It was terrible. Some of the stuff was really good. I mean, thank God no one brought lutefisk. I mean, it could have gotten worse. But lefse, I liked. Lutefisk, not so much. If you're from Minnesota, you know what the hell I mean. If you're from Sweden, you're these words sound vaguely Swedish, but they have no resemblance to anything Swedish at all. Lutefisk is fish soaked in lye. Lye? Why the hell would you want to soak anything in lye? You touch your body, you're going to get a burn with lye soap. Why would you soak fish in that? It's so disgusting. And the whole block smells. And 6 blocks in every direction stinks. You could always tell in Minnesota when a house is cooking lutefisk. It's horrible. It's like lye-soaked fish. Why the frickin' hell would you want to ever have that? It's poison. As far as I'm concerned, it's disgusting. It's poison. And I had one bite of it, and I think I went through it first time I had it. I 1 or 2 bites, and I was like, that's it. Gotta go. I'm feeling sick. Sorry, can't join in with the rest of the supper. I mean, I had to lay in bed, grasping my stomach, going, oh my God, please don't let me die. Anyway. So, I mean, church suppers, they could have been worse if they had lutefisk. And we did have lefse. Lefse was a potato bread. It's kind of like a Minnesota Swedish tortilla, and they eat it with butter and sugar. So, hey, that was pretty cool. And once every 5 or 10 years, I'll do the same thing to a Mexican tortilla. It's just not the same. But it's just a weird memory. Sometimes I'm like, it might be worth it going to my old town to go grab some lefse. Lefse's pretty cool. I mean, that I liked, actually. Probably it's not terribly healthy, but it's one of those white foods that you're just I kind of think that most white foods aren't all that healthy. I mean, the white foods that are healthy are cauliflower and coconuts, but not a whole lot of white food is healthy. Popcorn is questionable. It's healthy-ish. I mean, it's not going to kill you, but maybe not the best thing. But anyway, I just had to read that for you guys. I thought that was friggin' hilarious. That was yeah, that's good. That was good. It made me happy because I feel am I the only one? Is the whole world coupling up? Whatever community you're in, cisgendered, heteronormative, or LGBTQIA, no matter what world you're in, it just seems like everybody has someone. And when you're single, as it feels like everyone has someone, and you're the only one that's the odd man left standing, And it happened to me when I was in grade school, and I moved to a new school, and I had to learn to hoe down, whatever the hell that is. It was square dancing in grade school. I was holy hell, this is where I moved. I moved to a place where they square frickin' dance. Are you serious right now? I want out. I want out right now. I want to go back to LA. This is madness. This is insanity. Square dancing? Are you kidding me? I mean, I felt so crazy and so alone and so like completely perturbed at the brand new culture that my parents forced upon me. You know? If it would have been country line dancing, I would have had the same attitude, but I think I would have had more fun. But I was like, square dancing? Does anybody do this at all? Is this Amish world? Are we going to do a barn raising? Okay, I'm not worried about any Amish people hearing this unless they're on Rumspringa, which actually I think is pretty cool. But, oh my God, like, yeah, they drove me crazy. I was like, why are we learning this? Do-si-do? Does anybody do-si-do anymore, like ever at all? It's kind of weird, right? I don't know. It kind of really freaked me out because I felt like, holy man. I mean, I was in LA just months before this, going to the beach with my dad every single day because he had a house he was working on. He did construction, he did roofs. And I went with him because it was Santa Monica. You know, I got to walk down 1 block to the beach every freaking day. I was like, yes, this is a life. It was like the most beautiful house. It was an old Victorian house. That was my life. I was like, I love my life. I love it so much. And then like a month later, I was living in Minnesota. And within 2 or 3 months, I was being forced to learn things like square dancing and battle ball, which I'm pretty certain is child abuse. I don't know. Pitting kids against each other so they could throw a rubber ball at each other's heads as hard as humanly possible. I literally felt like this is my own personal hell. That would be my own personal hell, I think, probably. You know, just put me force me in a way where I have to do-si-do across the room while battling battle balls. Like, that was like the worst nightmare of a school. I was like, no, this is wrong, and I'm pretty certain at least one of those things, if not both, were child abuse. But all right. And if you absolutely love square dancing, more power to you. It actually was fun. Actually, I learned after I learned it, but I remember standing there. I didn't have a partner, and I had a partner with a teacher. That was like the most embarrassing thing ever. You know, like, holy crap. You know, I'm in a new school. No one wants to be my partner, and now I'm partnering with the teacher. Probably another reason why I hated square dancing, just because, you know. Yeah, I don't know. My cousin took me to prom, too. I was really pathetic as a kid. Not saying that I'm unpathetic now, but hey, you know, it's just used to it after a bunch of years. Anyway. Well, today is December 9th, guys. We're so close to Christmas, right? I want you to send your stories if you have anything at all. Did you ever write Santa a letter and you got the thing you wanted and your parents don't know anything about it? Like, how did that get under the tree? Did you have a glimpse of Santa and the reindeers streaking across the sky? Have you ever had an eerie feeling on Christmas Eve, like someone was looking at you, but you were all alone in the room? I want to hear all those stories. You know, if you are Jewish, did you have any Hanukkah miracles? I want to hear it. I think it's interesting. And if you celebrate Kwanzaa, did anything happen on Kwanzaa? I think this year on Kwanzaa, we're having a solar eclipse. That's something, but I need the stories to get here within the next 2 weeks if you can. So, you know, just a friendly reminder. So in case I forget at the end of the show, you know. Anyway, according to disclosurenews.it, the Schumann resonance today, this is what they had to say at 11:30. It is no surprise that today this strong peak occurred and reached power 74. So yay, 74 hertz frequency. It would have been a surprise if it had been a calm day. A strong series of movements lasted 50 minutes. Okay, from 8:40 to 9:40, which is, hello, that's 60 minutes, but whatever. And then at 9:15, it was the maximum value was 74. And then it says the short but intense period of activity was all for today. Now I'm going to look at the picture though, because sometimes picture's worth 1,000 words. Yeah, it looks like really jack shit happened all day, except for that one. It was a series of heavy-ish peaks, and then one at 74, and that was it. And then a long period of calm followed by a pillar of light up and down the whole thing. That might be the 74. I don't know. Maybe that was later. Crazy stuff. But 74, I mean, they have had a lot more activity. It's half of the bigger activity from last week, but that's cool. All right, so in heartmath.org, let's see where we're at. In California, according to heartmath.org, they started off at midnight at 42 hertz frequency on the Schumann resonance, and they ended up by 5 a.m. at 45. Not much of a big change there. 0 all the way across for Hafuf, Saudi Arabia. Lithuania started off at 81 hertz frequency, and that's where they ended it, at 81, all the way across, just straight across. And Alberta, Canada started off at 47 hertz frequency at midnight and went up to 49 hertz frequency by 5 a.m. And the big ones were the next two, okay? So in Northland, New Zealand, now this is interesting. We have some news from New Zealand. 234 hertz frequency on the Schumann resonance at midnight. By 5 a.m., they were at 277. I'm sure it went a little bit higher. Now, in New Zealand, a volcanic eruption happened, and 5 tourists were killed that had been hiking apparently in the cauldron of the volcano that was unexpected. Like, I guess they thought it was dormant and nothing was ever going to happen. Let it be a lesson. You don't live in a volcano. Don't walk in a volcano. You know, it's kind of scary, right? We should let that be a lesson. And I'm sorry for those 5 people. So that happened in New Zealand, and now no one could go to. They tried to helivac people out, and there was so much ash in the air that they couldn't. It was like really crazy on this little island off the coast of New Zealand. Anyway, so now they were at 5 a.m. They were at 277 hertz frequency. So that's what I was saying. Remember the emotional stuff that we have, emotional or anticipatory energy, and then all of a sudden, the ionic sphere, like the energy in the ionosphere, between the ionosphere and the surface of the Earth, that's where the Schumann resonance waves happen. And it, like that anticipatory energy, the anxiety, collectively in a space, brings it up. And here it is, looking at how big it went. I mean, from 234 to 273 just in 5 hours. Now, I wonder when that erupted. So on some level, people knew over there that was going to happen. All right. Now, 198 hertz frequency was the first value at midnight that they saw in Hulului, South Africa. 198, but that went up quickly to 221 by 5 a.m. Both of those two numbers for both New Zealand and South Africa looks like they're climbing, so we'll see tomorrow where that lands. All right, so we're going back to the foundation for inner peace, because don't we all need a foundation of inner peace? Of course we do. We are now starting with brand new lessons in A Course in Miracles, and we are on lesson 181. The main thought of the day is this: I trust my brothers who are one with me. I trust my brothers who are one with me. So let's see what, and now it says, I'm looking at seeing what here it says. So for a little while, without regard to the past or the future, when blocks arise, we should transcend them with instructions to our minds to change our mind's mental focus. So say this: it is not this that I would look upon. I trust my brothers who are one with me. So basically, when you're having a thought of a brother's sin that occurs to us, or when we have a narrow focus on something that's restricting our full, complete sight about something, when our eyes turn upon our own mistakes or those mistakes or sins of others, that's what we should say to ourselves. It is not this that I would look upon. I trust my brothers who are one with me. I think that will undo a lot of this stuff, misgivings you have about other humans, as well as yourself, right? So it says, trusting your brothers is essential to establishing and holding up your faith in your ability to transcend doubt and lack of sure conviction in yourself. When you attack a brother, you proclaim that he is limited by what you have perceived in him. You do not look beyond his errors, and rather they're magnified, and they become blocks to your awareness of the self that lies beyond your own mistakes and past his seeming sins, as well as your own. And it says perception has a focus. So there you go. Very interesting lesson. If you want to read the rest of it, it's lesson 181 in acim.org, or you could go download an app and start the lessons from scratch if you want. A lot of the lesson apps, by the way, you could skip ahead and read lessons, specifically whatever pertains to you that day if you want. It's better if you go in order, but we've been reading this. This is 181 days we've read this in a row. Just the main ideas, though, to kind of get you the gist of the high vibratory words and energy and the wisdom of it. So anyway, back to the main idea for the day. I trust my brothers who are one with me. And of course, by brothers, that doesn't mean only your genetic brothers, right? It's everyone on the planet is what it means. And sisters, by the way. You know, Jesus didn't mean to be sexist. He's just trying to get the points across, and he didn't mean to be sexist. He just wrote it the way he knew how at that moment. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, guys, we are going to read from the Spirit's book. We are a little bit over halfway through the Spirit's book, so we got another 12 lessons to go. Now, the book we just finished on Saturday, I'm trying to figure out a new book to read coming up, so I'm looking. I might just take a break and do some poetry. But, yeah, before we get into all that, tonight we're going to start with the topic of possession. So we're going to start with questions asked of the spirits about, you know, a being possessing your body. So kind of creepy, right? Possession sounds like it's going to be an interesting night for sure. I have been trying to talk to Roger from Mud Fossil University, and he finally got back to me, and we had a conversation yesterday. He sent me some interesting articles, and we're going to try. Hopefully he will do it. He's kind of a shy kind of person, I have a feeling, and he's very deep into his science, and we're going to talk about what mud fossils are soon. So I just want to let you guys know I am in touch with him. I'm hoping he'll come around and we'll figure it out. So we're still working on it. I mentioned it before, but I was really excited. He wrote me back. Oh my God. It was so cool to hear from Roger. I was like, oh man, he was worried about naysayers, and he's like, your people aren't flat earthers, are they? I'm like, oh good God, no. I don't think anyone listening to me believes that the earth is flat. You know, I don't think so. If you do, it'd be interesting. I want to hear your take on that. But I honestly know for a fact it's round. I've seen it from an airplane. You know, I know it's round. I see the sun. And that was another thing today I read an article about. Did you guys know that at the equator we have 6 days without shadows because the sun is exactly in the middle? And it doesn't waver to the right or the left of us as we're walking anywhere down the street or whatever. I did not know that. And there's 2 times in which we have 3 days in a row without shadows. They're literally called the days without shadows. I thought that was really crazy. And one of the reasons why I get so disoriented here is because I'm used to my shadow being to the north of me. 6 months of the year, our shadows are to the north of us, and 6 months of the year, our shadows are to the south of us, because we're at the center of the planet. Like, we're literally on the middle part, the equator. Ecuador means equator in Spanish. I'm like, this is such a weird revelation for me. You could see the wobble here. It's massive. You could see the wobble of the earth from where the sun goes, like, raises up out of the sky in the beginning of the day, and where it raises up later. You could see a massive difference. And I know that I saw the wobble in north part of the world, but it was just very weird watching that. And this guy was very confused, and he had to really look into the science. And he wrote an article for CuencaHighlife.com, and I was really blown away by it. I was like, it's really good, sound science, good article. If you're ever interested in that sort of thing, you can actually go and read that article. But he also was saying that the sun rises and sets differently in all the different places. Like in the north, everything changes. Like tomorrow, the sun will rise 12 minutes later, and then 12 minutes later, and then 12 minutes later the next day. Here, it's only 9 seconds. So if the sun rises at 7:01, tomorrow it's going to rise at 7:01 and 9 seconds. It's only by 9 seconds. And the longest day and the shortest day in the north could be like 15 hours and then 8 hours. That's a huge difference. But here on the equator, we're like only 20 minutes difference. So our longest day is 20 minutes longer than our shortest day. That's it. Crazy, right? I just want to mention that stuff because I thought it was very interesting. I love science and I love earth science, and all this stuff is like super interesting to me. Even though I'm not technically a scientist, I had to bring it up because it was so weird. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick break and stretch it out, baby. And yeah, the one change I don't like is the pain in my body. I got to keep stretching it out. All right. I am rolling with the hunches to stretch my body out. There you go. Maybe we should all say that. Roll with your hunches. Roll with the hunches, right? Anyway, I'll be right back after these messages when we're going to read Allan Kardec's The Spirit's Book. That was published in 1857 in Paris, France. And it's a very, very interesting book in which he interviewed psychic mediums all over Paris and asked them all the same questions. And the spirits answered all the same answers, even though the mediums didn't know each other. So it's very, very interesting. But my theory is that the same spirits that answered him followed him around from medium to mediums, giving them the same answers. So it makes for kind of a funny read because I think the spirits are kind of annoyed at him and snarky sometimes. But we'll see. We'll see what happens today. You know, sometimes they're snarky and sometimes they aren't. All right, I'm taking that down because we don't want to keep hearing that throughout the whole book read, right? All right. Apparently my friend Tino had to tweet something, and then I got a notification about it. And as much as I like Tino, I don't really need to have a notification about that every 5 seconds, right? All right. Woohoo! Change that. Roll with the hunches, baby. All right. I like that. I'm going to say that from now on. I hate the word punches. Who wants to roll around the floor if someone's punching you? Roll with the hunches. All right. I'll be right back after these messages, and we're going to start the Spirit's Book with Possession right after this. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, They have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, and it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated, and now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started today. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you. Alright guys, this is The Spirits Book by Allan Kardec from 1857, and we're on the part called Possession. Question 473. Can a spirit temporarily assume the envelope of a living person? That is to say, can he introduce himself into an animate body and act in the room and place of the spirit incarnated in it? And the spirits say, a spirit does not enter into a body as you would enter into a house. He assimilates himself to an incarnate spirit who has the same defects and the same qualities as himself in order that they may act conjointly. But it's always the incarnate spirit who acts at his pleasure on the matter with which he is clothed. No other spirit can substitute himself in the place of a spirit who is incarnated in a given body, for a spirit is indissolubly united with his body until the arrival of the hour that has been appointed by Providence for the termination of his material existence. Question 474. If there can be no such thing as possession, in the ordinary sense of that term, that is to say, cohabitation of two spirits, same body, is it possible for one soul to find itself dominated, subjugated, obsessed by another soul to such a point as that its will is, so to say, paralyzed? Yeah, I know for a fact the answer is yes. And the spirits say, yes, it is this domination which really constitutes what you call possession. But you must understand that this domination is never established without the participation of the spirit who is subjected to it, either through his weakness or his free will. Men have often mistaken for cases of possession what were really cases of epilepsy or madness, demanding the help of the physician rather than that of the exorciser. That might be true, but I'm going to tell you guys right now, a demon tried to possess me once. Also, my dead husband possessed the body of my boyfriend and raped me. So, and I mean, his voice changed. The look on his face was contorted. He said things that I know that my boyfriend didn't know, and I know it was definitely him. His spirit had been haunting me after he died. It was really bad. He was haunting my kids. We had his body, or had his spirit bound to the earth in a different part of Guatemala by a medicine man, a shaman in Guatemala. And when he got free from that binding, and he did get free, he possessed my boyfriend's body and he raped me, and my boyfriend was asleep. And when it was over, my boyfriend was still asleep. And he kind of woke up and he goes, "Oh, that was so weird. I feel like we were about to have sex." I'm like, "That's okay, sweetie. You go back to bed." I was so freaked out. I was like, "Oh my God. Oh my God." And he didn't recall that we had done it. He didn't know anything. So possession 100% is real. But it's a subjugation of one will over the other. And my ex had a very strong, stubborn will. And my boyfriend at the time was trying to get over heroin. So, I mean, it was like, he didn't have he had a kind of a weaker will. He was easily dominated. I didn't even tell him what happened. I was like freaked out. He's like, "Do you want to do it?" I'm like, "No, let's just cuddle," and he didn't even know. And I was like, "Oh my God, that was so insane." Like, obviously I didn't, wasn't mad at my boyfriend, because the voice that came through was different, the face was different. He said, "Guess who it is?" And it was just like it was him, and it felt different. Everything felt different. He did things different. He touched me differently. It was very creepy, very, very creepy. He said that I would never be free of him. And even on our anniversary, like 3 years ago, he woke me up by screaming in my ear. I felt him. I it was so creepy. It's like he's been haunting me for years. My husband of 13 years, he actually, for a time, was like an evil spirit. It was very weird. His hatred that he had while he had brain cancer stayed with him for a while. It was very creepy. But now, actually I haven't seen him in a while. It's been like 3 years. And I might have done something to bind him and I don't remember. Creepy though, really creepy. But I know that this stuff is real. Okay, anyway, Allan Kardec has a note and he says, "The word possession in its common acceptation presupposes the existence of demons, that is to say, of a category of beings of a nature essentially evil, and the cohabitation of one of those beings with the soul of a man in the body of the latter. Since there are no such beings as demons, in the sense just defined, and since two spirits cannot inhabit simultaneously the same body, there is no such thing as possession in the sense commonly attributed to the word. The word possessed should only be understood as expressing the state of absolute subjugation or subjection to a soul in flesh may be reduced by an imperfect spirit under whose domination it has fallen." So, okay, so like technically only you can possess your body. No one can possess your body. As far as the word possession means ownership, you own your body. No one can kick you out of your own body. That's so helpful. It's not so helpful to know that, because you might live in your apartment and someone could kick you out of that, but you live in your own body and no one can kick you out of that. At least there's that, right? All right, question 475. Can a soul of its own motion drive away the evil spirits by whom it is thus obsessed and free itself from their domination? And the answer, you can always shake off a yoke. Oh my God, suddenly my computer started to freak out. Sorry. It went down like 2 pages. Oh, okay. The spirits say you can always shake off a yoke if you're firmly resolved to do so. Also there was like a footnote at the bottom of the other page. It says this: the weakness, quote unquote, which sometimes brings a human being under the power of a spirit tormentor despite the strenuous resistance of his will, is always the punitive and expiatory result of his own wrongdoing, either in his present earthly life or in a former one. Well, that's really creepy, huh? That's probably true. Based on what I just told you, that's my story from my own life. All right, question 476. Might not the fascination exercised by the evil spirit be so complete that the person subjugated should be unaware of it? And in such a case, might not a third person be able to put an end to the subjugation or subjection? And what course should be taken by the latter to that end? Good question. So the spirits say, the willpower of an upright man may be useful by attracting the cooperation of good spirits in the work of deliverance. For the more upright a man is, the more power he possesses, both over imperfect spirits to drive them away and over good ones to draw them nearer. Nevertheless, even the best men would be powerless in such a case unless the subjugated person lend himself to the efforts made on his behalf. For there are persons who take delight in a state of dependence which panders to their depraved tastes and desires. In no case can one who is impure in heart exercise any liberating influence, for he is despised by the good spirits, and the bad ones stand in no awe of him. And you know what? Actually, when that happened, I asked Archangel Michael to take him away, and he did, by the way. You can always ask an angel to take away the spirit that's trying to overcome the body of a possessed person, or it's not possessed, it's like a temporarily subjugated or subjected person. So, all right. Question 477. Have formulas of exorcism any power over bad spirits? The spirits answer, no. When bad spirits see anyone seriously endeavoring to act upon them by such means, they laugh at him and persist in their obsession. Great. Question 478. Persons who are well-intentioned are sometimes obsessed. What are the best means of getting rid of obsessing spirits? And the answer is to tire out their patience, to give no heed to their suggestions, to show them that they are losing their time. When they see they could do nothing, then they go away. But what if someone's just having an off day and they're not like upset? Like if there's no spirit trying to take over their body and they're just having an off day, and then you just annoy the crap out of them so they go away. I mean, I'm just hashtag just saying. Question 479. Is prayer efficacious as a means of putting an end to obsession? The spirits say, prayer is always an efficacious means of obtaining help. But if you must remember that the muttering of certain words will not suffice to obtain what you desire. God helps those who help themselves, but not those who limit their action to asking for help. It is therefore necessary for the person obsessed to do his utmost to cure himself of the defects which attract evil spirits to him. Question 480. What is to be thought of the casting out of devils spoken of in the Gospels? The spirits say that depends on the meaning you attach to the word devil. If you mean by that term a bad spirit who subjugates a human being, then it is evident that when his influence is destroyed, he will really be driven away. If you attribute a malady to the devil, you may say, when you have cured the malady, that you have driven the devil away. A statement may be true or false according to the meaning attributed to certain words. The most weighty truths may appear absurd when you look only at the form under which they are presented, and when an allegory is taken for a fact. Get this principle well into your mind and keep it there, for it is of universal application. Exactly, I agree with that. It depends on your operative definition of a word. Always, always, always. That's why some people have really bad arguments with someone else until they realize that they're using the same word, but they have different meanings attributed in their minds to that word. That's like a massive reason why people have arguments. It's crazy, right? And once you realize that, you're like, oh, wait a minute, well, what do you mean by that word? If you're just like, I'm not stupid or anything, and I'm not making fun of you. I'm just asking you, what is your operative definition of the word? Because maybe I'm not understanding you from your own meaning of that phrase or word or idea. That always is a good thing to say. If you're not 100%, you don't want to start an argument and just waste your hour or 2 hours or 3 days or 5 years, whatever. It's always a good idea to get someone's idea of something. All right. Now we are to convulsionaries. Convulsionary. That sounds really strange. It's like a canary that can't stand on a tree branch for too long. A convulsionary. All right. All right. Question 481. Do spirits play a part in the phenomena exhibited by the individuals designated under the name of convulsionaries? I hope they kind of explain this. Maybe it means the people that do that religion that talk in tongues and dance around and freak out and roll around the ground screaming. What is that? I went to that church for a while just because I thought it was interesting. I never participated because I thought it was very strange. I tried to participate, but then the spirit tried to take over my body. I'm all, oh, hell no. Keep on moving, sister. There's no way you're going to take over this body. I don't give a crap if you think you're an angel or whatever. Nah, I don't trust it. It's just, I'm a channel, but I'm an indirect channel. It's just crazy, but maybe that's what they mean. All right, back to the question. Do spirits play a part in the phenomena exhibited by the individuals designated under the name of convulsionaries? And the answer is, by the spirits, they say, yes, a very important one, as does also the agent that you call magnetism, whether employed by human beings or by spirits, for this agent is the original source of those phenomena. Yeah. But charlatanism has often been exaggerated, those effects, and have made them a matter of speculation, which has brought them into ridicule. Okay. And the follow-up question, what is generally the nature of the spirits who help to produce phenomena of this kind? The answer, a slight elevation. Do you suppose that spirits of high degree would waste their time in such a way? I know, right? It's a little snarky, but obviously. Question 482. How can a whole population be suddenly thrown into an abnormal state of convulsions and crises? And the answer, through sympathy. Moral dispositions are sometimes exceedingly contagious. You are not so ignorant of the effects of human magnetism as not to understand this, and also the part that certain spirits would naturally take in such occurrences through sympathy with those by whom they are produced. And Allan Kardec adds his own 2 cents when he says, among the strange peculiarities remarked in convulsionaries, several are evidently identical with those of which somnambulism and mesmerism, often numerous examples vis-a-vis physical insensibility, thought reading, sympathetic transmission or sensations, etc. It is therefore impossible to doubt what these chrysiacs, I think he made this word up. It is therefore impossible to doubt that these chrysiacs are in a sort of waking somnambulism determined by the influence which they unwittingly exercise upon each other. They are at once mesmerized and mesmerized unconsciously to themselves. Okay. Question 483. What is the cause of the physical insensibility sometimes remarked in convulsionaries and sometimes also in other persons when subjected to the most atrocious tortures? I honestly have no idea what the hell he's talking about. Is he talking like dancing with snakes or drinking poison, or like that's a whole nother church than the one I was thinking of. Anyway, the answer from the spirits say, in some cases it is simply an effect of human magnetism, which acts upon the nervous system in the same manner as do certain substances. In other cases, mental excitement deadens the sensibility of the organism, the life seeming to retire from the body in order to concentrate itself in the spirit. Have you not observed that when the spirit is intensely occupied with any matter, the body neither feels, nor sees, nor hears? So Allan Kardec has a bunch to say about that. He says, the excitement of fanaticism and enthusiasm often offer, on the part of persons subjected to a violent death, examples of a calmness and coolness that could hardly triumph over excruciating pain unless the sensibility of the patient were neutralized by a sort of moral anesthesia. We know that in the heat of a battle, a severe wound is often received without being perceived, whilst under ordinary circumstances, a mere scratch is felt acutely. Since the production of these phenomena is due, in part to the action of physical causes, in part to that of spirits, it may be asked how it can be possible for the civil authorities in certain cases to put a stop to them. The reason of this is, however, very simple. The action of spirits in these cases is only secondary. They do nothing more than take advantage. Hold on, my computer's freaking out a little bit. Okay. They do nothing more than take advantage of a natural tendency. The public authorities did not suppress this tendency, but the cause which kept up and stimulated it, thus reducing it from a state of activity to one of latency. And they were right in doing so because the matter was giving rise to abuses and scandal. Such intervention, nevertheless, is powerless in cases where the action of spirits is direct and spontaneous. I don't know, but I have no idea what he's talking about. Did you guys know that whatever it is he's talking about happened in France 162 years ago? What the hell is he talking about? If you guys know, I want to know what he's even referring to. The authorities had to put a stop to torturous abuse that gave rise to possession, or I don't even understand what's happening. That was what the hell is a convulsionary? Seriously, it sounds like a canary with epilepsy to me. Convulsionary. I don't know. It's very strange. If you can offer insight, it would be helpful to the rest of us if you know anything about this. All right. It's like not anything I even knew to look up, honestly. All right. Now we're at the part that is called affectation of certain spirits for certain persons. Question 484. Do spirits affectionately prefer certain persons? And the answer is, good spirits sympathize with all men who are good or susceptible of amelioration. Inferior spirits with men who are bad or who may become such. The attachment in both cases is a consequence of the similarity of sentiment. Oh, you know, that's actually really... My friend just had a spirit attachment recently, and I helped him get rid of it. Now I wonder what kind of spirit was attached to him. Very interesting. But the thing is, my friend is not an addict, but the spirit attached to him was an addict, and he was afraid he was going to hell. And because he was afraid of going to hell, he attached to my friend because maybe they had other things in common. Because I'm like, what? All right, yeah, all right. Because once I explained to the spirit, you're not going to go to hell because you had an addiction, then the spirit left. You know, I had Archangel Michael usher him out, but, take him up the portal. but crazy stuff. All right. Question 485. Is the affection, I'm sorry, that's not the right word. Is the affection of certain spirits for certain persons exclusively one of sentiment? The answer is, true affection has nothing of carnality, but when a spirit attaches himself to a living person, it's not always through affection only, for there may also be in that attachment a reminiscence of human passions. Question 486. Do spirits take an interest in our misfortunes and our prosperity? Those who wish us well, are they grieved by the ills we undergo during life? The answer is, good spirits do all they can and rejoice with you in all your joys. They mourn over your afflictions when you do not bear them with resignation, because in that case affliction produces no beneficial result. For you are like the sick man who rejects a disagreeable draught that would cure him. All right, so if you have an affliction or something bad and the spirits are like seeing that you're still struggling through it, but you're trying and trying and trying and trying, and yet you're still suffering, then they feel bad for you. But if you go, screw it, I'm going to give up, then they don't feel bad for you. Yeah, typical. All right. Question 487. What is the kind of ills that causes most grief to our spirit friends? Is it our physical sufferings or our moral imperfections? And the spirits say, what grieves the most is your selfishness and your hard-heartedness. For these are the root of all your troubles. I wonder if they're talking to him directly. Probably not, but he seems like a really sweet person. So, all right. They smile at the imaginary sorrows that are born of pride and ambition. They rejoice in those which will shorten your term of trial. All right. Okay. Allan Kardec has something to say about that. He says, our spirit friends, knowing that corporeal life is only transitory and that the tribulations by which it is accompanied are the means that will enable us to reach a happier state. They are more grieved for us by the moral imperfections which keep us back than by physical ills which are only transitory. Spirits attach as little importance to misfortunes which affect us only in our earthly ideas, as we do to the trilling sorrows of childhood. Seeing the afflictions of life to be the means of our advancement, they regard them only as a passing crisis which will restore the sick man to health. They are grieved by our sufferings as we are grieved by those of a friend, but judging the events of our lives from a truer point of view, they appreciate them differently. While inferior spirits try to drive us to despair in order to hinder our advancement, the good ones seek to inspire us with the courage that will turn our trials into a source of a gain for our future. Question 488. Have the relatives and friends who have gone before us into the other life more sympathy for us than spirits who are strangers to us? They answer, undoubtedly they have, and they often protect you as spirits according to their power. And the follow-up question, are they sensible of the affection we preserve for them? And the spirits say, very sensible, but they forget those who forget them. We'll forget you. I'm just kidding. Interesting. All right, very interesting. All right, so now we are at the section called Guardian Angels, Protecting Familiar and Sympathetic Spirits. Question 489. Are there spirits who attach themselves to a particular individual in order to protect and help him? The answer is yes, the spirit brother, what you call the spirit protector or the good genius. Question 490. What is to be understood by the expression guardian angel? And they say, a spirit protector of high degree. Question 491. What is the mission of a spirit protector? And the answer is that of a father towards his children, to lead the object of his protection into the right road, to aid him with his counsels, to console him in all of his afflictions, and to sustain his courage under the trials of his earthly life. Thank you, guardian angel. Question 492. Is a spirit protector attached to an individual from his birth? And he says, or the spirits say, from his birth to his death, and he often follows him after death in the spirit life, and even in several successive corporeal existences. For these existences are but every short phases of his existence as a spirit. Yeah, guys, the way I understand it is that once you have a guardian angel assigned to you, from the moment your soul is created, that guardian angel is your guardian angel forevermore. But your guardian spirit, your spirit guide, only stays with you for one life, because this is way too much work to do for every freaking single life of yours. So, like, your last life, you did not have the same spirit helping you. You know, your higher self is just your soul, and then you've got your spirit guide, and your spirit guide, it's like your best friend in heaven, and then when you get here, you totally forget her or him, and which must be super irritating for them. You're like, what was your name again? And they're like, oh my God, I'm your best friend. Oh, you know, it's got to be super annoying. But they, it's like really hard work. It's like so much work, and it's only like they do it for one lifetime. And then the next time when you get reincarnated, you have a whole nother spirit guardian or spirit guide. And I in this life, I've had 3 different spirit guides. They've come at different times. They literally tag teamed, you know, like they're working on it like with each other, but it's like, no, it's like, I'm done now. They're each taking like 20 years or something. My middle one, he took maybe 10 years with me, and then he barely said 2 words. I'm like, I need a new spirit guide. But I loved him very much, but he would barely talk to me. And when he did, it was in Lakota Sioux. Like I was supposed to remember. And on some level, my spirit remembered, but it was like hearing light language. You don't really know what it means, right? But but my current spirit guide, I know she was my best friend. I feel it, but I don't really remember her, and it's sad. It's got to be sad for her. But your guardian angel is with you 100% from the beginning of your soul until your soul is destroyed by God. I mean, your soul's probably never going to be destroyed by God. So you are assigned a spirit angel. It's with you forever. All right. Question 493. Is the mission of a spirit protector voluntary or obligatory? And the answer is, your spirit protector is obliged to watch over you because he has accepted that task. But a spirit is allowed to choose his ward among his beings, the beings who are sympathetic to him. In some cases, this office is a pleasure. In others, it's a mission or a duty. Thank you, Marisa. She's mine. All right. Follow-up question. In attaching himself to a person, is the spirit obliged to refrain from protecting other individuals? And the answer is no, but he does so less exclusively. Question 494. Is the spirit protector indissolubly attached to the person confided to his guardianship? The answer is, it often happens that spirits quit their position in order to fulfill various missions, but in that case, an exchange of wards takes place. Question 495. See, what was I just saying? I've had 3, so not all at the same time. They change. You know, I change hands, you know. I'm too much of a handful. They can't handle it. Sorry, guys. Question 495. Does the spirit protector sometimes abandon his ward when the latter persists in neglecting his counsels? The answer is he withdraws from him when he sees that his counsels are useless and that there is a stubborn determination to yield to the influence of inferior spirits. But he does not abandon him entirely, and he continues to make himself heard. It is not the spirit who quits the man, but the man who closes his ears against the spirit. As soon as the man calls him back, the spirit returns to him. If there be a doctrine that should win over the most incredulous by its charm and its beauty, it is that of the existence of spirit protectors or guardian angels. To think that you have always near you beings who are superior to you and who are always beside you to counsel you, sustain you, to aid you in climbing the steep ascent of self-improvement, whose friendship is truer and more devoted than the most intimate union you can contract upon the earth, is not such an idea the most consoling? Those beings who are near you by the command of God, it is He who placed them beside you. They are there for the love of Him, and they fulfill towards you a noble and laborious mission. They are with you wherever you may be, in the dungeon, in solitude, in the Lazar house. What is a Lazar house? Okay, I do need to know what that is. If you know, write me. Even in the haunts of debauchery. In the haunts of debauchery. Betty, do you know where your husband is tonight? Oh, he's out. Well, do you know where he went? Yeah, he's in the haunts of debauchery. I mean, I don't know why that is freaking hilarious. The haunts of debauchery. All right, back to their answer. Nothing ever separates you from the friend whom you cannot see, but whose gentle impulsions are felt and whose wise monitions are heard in the innermost recesses of your heart. Aw, warms the cockles of my little heart. Okay. Would that you were more fully impressed with this truth. How often would it aid you in your moments of need? How often would it save you from the snares of evil spirits? Ooh, snares, that's a good word. But at the great day of account, how often will your guardian angel have to say to you, did I not urge you, and yet you not followed my lead? Did I not show you the abyss, and yet you persisted in throwing yourself into it? Did I not cause your conscience to hear the voice of truth? Have you not followed lying counsels? Okay, I'm sorry. It's probably not how they say it, but I mean... I don't know. It's like... the way I'm hearing it in my head is like so hilarious right now. All right. Question your guardian angels. Establish between yourselves and them the affectionate intimacy which exists between tried and loving friends. Do not think to hide anything from them, for they are the eye of God. Oh my God. And you cannot deceive them. Think of the future. Seek to advance on the upward road. Your trials will be shorter. Your existence is happier. Men, take courage. Cast far from you all prejudices and mental reservations. Enter resolutely upon the new road that opens before you. You have guides. Follow them. Your goal cannot fail you, for the goal is God Himself. To those who may think it impossible that spirits of high degree should bind themselves to a task so laborious and demanding so much patience on their part, we reply that we influence your souls while at many millions of leagues from you. To us, space is nothing. And while living in another world, Our spirits preserve their connection with yours. We possess qualities of which you can form no idea. But be sure that God has not imposed upon us a task above our strength, and He has not abandoned you upon the earth without friends and without support. Every guardian angel has his ward over whom he watches as a father watches over his child. He rejoices when he sees him following the right road. He mourns when his counsels are neglected. See, everybody has a Clarence. It's pretty cool. Do not fear to weary us with your questions. Remain, on the contrary, always in connection with us, and will thus be stronger and happier. It is this communication between each man and his familiar spirit that will eventually make all men mediums and drive out incredulity from your world. You who have received instruction, instruct in your turn. You who are possessed of talents, raise your brethren. You know not how great a work you accomplish by so doing. It is the work of Christ, the work imposed on you by God. Why has God given you intelligence and knowledge, if not to share them with your brethren, to aid them to advance on the road that leads to eternal felicity? The doctrine of guardian angels. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Allan Kardec's words now. He says, the doctrine of guardian angels watching over their wards, notwithstanding with the distance which separates different worlds, has in it nothing that should excite our surprise. It is as natural as it is grand and sublime. Do we not see a father upon the earth watch over his child, even though at a great distance from him, and aid him by the wise counsels of his letters? Why then should it be deemed surprising that spirits should guide from one world to another those whom take under their protection, since to them the distance which separates worlds is less than that which on earth separates continents? Besides, have they not the universal fluid which binds together all the worlds of the universe and makes them part and parcel of each other? The universal vehicle of the transmission of through, as the air is for us, the vehicle of the transmission of sound. Question 496. If a spirit abandons his ward and no longer does him good, can he do him harm? And the answer is, good spirits never do harm to anyone. They leave that to those who take their place. And then you accuse fate of the misfortunes which overwhelm you, while these are in reality the result of your own wrongdoing. Hello. Question 497. Can a spirit protector leave his ward at the mercy of a spirit who should desire to do him harm? So why with these questions? And the spirits say, evil spirits unite together to neutralize the action of the good ones, but the will of the ward suffices to give back all its power to the spirit protector. The latter may find elsewhere another person whose goodwill renders it easy to help him. In such a case, he takes advantage of the opportunity of doing good while awaiting the return of his ward. Question 498. When the spirit protector allows his ward to wander into the wrong paths, is it because he is unable to cope with the malevolent spirits who mislead him? The answer is, it is not because he's unable, but because he does not choose to do so. He knows that his ward will become wiser and better through the trials which he has brought upon himself. The spirit protector assists his ward through the sage counsels he suggests to his mind, but which unhappily are not always heeded. It is only the weakness, carelessness, or pride of men that gives strength to the bad spirits. The power over you, their power over you, comes solely from your not opposing sufficient resistance to their actions. Right? Okay. I mean, hello, free will, right? Like, your Holy Spirit guide and your Holy Guardian Angel do not allow you to go down the wrong road. They try to encourage you to go down the right road, but you choose to go down the wrong road when you're affected by evil spirits or inefficient people. But we're all given the idea of free will, right? I mean, your holy guardian angel might be saying, no, don't smoke that cigarette, Joe. And you might be like, screw off. I want a good Camel. I want to smoke a Camel. It's only for today. Tomorrow I'll be fine, right? I mean, it's just free will. We're allowed to do whatever we want. But we should always try to hit our guardian angels. But there it is. Question 499. I mean, obviously, aren't we going to, if we're children and their father in this situation, aren't we going to rebel a little bit or a lot bit? All right, that's just my thoughts. Okay, question 499. Is the spirit protector constantly with his ward? Are there no circumstances under which, without abandoning him, he may lose sight of him? And the answer is, there are circumstances under which the presence of the spirit protector is not necessary to the ward. And question 500. Guys, we've been doing this for 500 questions now. Question 500. Does a time arrive when the spirit no longer needs a guardian angel? The answer is yes. When he has reached the degree of advancement which enables him to guide himself as time arrives and the scholar has no longer need of a master. But this does not take place upon your earth. Thank God. I'm like, no, I'm going to miss my guardian angel when we're all spiritual masters. Okay, but that's not going to take place on the earth. Freaking thank God. Oh my God. See, now I'm excited to know about this. Now, what's going to happen to my guardian angel when I no longer need her? I mean, is she going to go be a guardian angel for someone else? Yeah, God's saying yes. That's interesting. All right, let's get back to the book. Question 501. Why is the action of spirits upon our existence occult? That means hidden. And why when they are, which y'all know, and why when they are protecting us, do they not do so ostensibly? And the answer, if you counted on their support, you would not act of yourselves, and your spirit would not progress. In order to advance, each man needs to acquire experience, and often at his own expense. He needs to exercise his powers, and otherwise he would be like a child who is not allowed to walk alone. The action of the spirits who desire your welfare is always regulated in such a way as to leave you your free will. For if you had no excuse me, for if you had no responsibility, you would not advance on the road that is to lead you to God. Man, not seeing his supporter, puts forth his own strength. His guide, however, watches over him and calls to him from time to time to bid him beware of danger. Question 502. When the spirit protector succeeds in leading his ward on the right road, does he thereby gain any benefit for himself? And they say, it is a meritorious work which will be counted to him either for his advancement or for his happiness. He rejoices when he sees his care crowned by success, and triumphs as a teacher, triumphs in the success of his pupil. Follow-up question, is he responsible if he doesn't succeed? And the answer, no, since he's done everything that depended on him. Yes, of course. Angels are perfect. Question 503. Does the spirit protector feel sorrow on seeing a ward taking the wrong road, and does not such sight disturb his own felicity? The answer, he is grieved at his errors and pities him, but this affliction has none of the anguish of terrestrial paternity, because he knows that there's a remedy for the evil, and that what is not done today will be done tomorrow. Cool. Question 504. Can we always know the name of our guardian angel? The answer, How is it possible for you to know names which have no existence for you? Do you suppose that there are no spirits but those whom you know of? That's like really snarky answer. Okay, follow-up question. But how can we invoke him if we don't know who he is? See, snarky follow-up question. And the spirits say, give him any name you please, that of any superior spirit for whom you feel sympathy or veneration. Your spirit guardian will answer this appeal, for all good spirits are brothers and assist each other. Yeah, but what's their real name? Have you guys ever wondered that? What's your guardian angel's name? I mean, you could give them a name, but I mean, what's their real name? And that also begs the question, what's the name of our own soul? Like, do you even know the name of your own soul? Like, is it even possible to know it? All right, anyway, question 505. Are the spirit guardians who take well-known names always the persons who bore those names? The answer, no, but they are spirits who are in sympathy with them and who in many cases come by their order. You require names. They therefore take a name that will inspire you with confidence. When you are unable to execute a commission in person, you send someone in your place who acts in your name. Question 506. When we are in the spirit life, shall we recognize our spirit guardian? Answer, yes, for it's often a spirit who you knew before you're being incarnated. Yeah, like your best friend. Question 507. Do all spirit guardians belong to the higher classes of spirits? Are they sometimes found among those of average advancement? Can a father, for example, become a spirit guardian of his own child? The answer, he may do so, but such guardianship presupposes a certain degree of elevation, and in addition, a power or virtue that is granted by God. A father who watches over his child may himself be assisted by a spirit of a more elevated degree. All right, I had to click off a bunch of things there. Okay, question 508. Can all spirits who have quitted the earth under favorable conditions become the protectors of those whom they love among their survivors? The answer, their power is more or less narrowed by their position, which does not always leave them full liberty of action. This is like, okay, I don't like this question. I'm going to say it because it's in the book, but this guy is being very freaking judgmental of people that he doesn't know anything about. So there's that. Have savages, question 509, have savages and men who are very low as regards to their moral state? I mean, how does he know? It's just the way he worded the question. It's like I want to wring his neck. Have savages and men who are very low. Not to be confused with each other, by the way. Have savages and men who are very low as regard to their moral state, their spirit guardians? And if so, are these spirits of as high an order as those of men who are more advanced? All right, so every man has a spirit who watches over him, but missions are always proportional to their object. You do not give a professor of philosophy to a child who's only learning how to read. The advancement of a familiar spirit is always proportioned to that of the spirit he protects. While you yourself have a spirit of higher degree who watches over you, you may in your turn become the protector of a spirit who is lower than you, and the progress you help him to make will contribute to your own advancement. God does not demand of any spirit more than is consistent with his nature and with the degree at which he has arrived. Question 510. When a father who watches over his child is reincarnated, does he still continue to watch over him? Answer. His task in that case becomes more difficult, but in a moment of freedom. He asks some sympathetic spirit to assist him in accomplishing it, but spirits do not undertake missions which they cannot carry on to the end. A spirit, when incarnated, especially in worlds in which existence is grossly material, is too much fettered by his body to be able to devote himself entirely to another, that is to say, to give him personally all the help he needs. For this reason, those who are not sufficiently elevated to suffice for the work of guardianship are themselves assisted by higher spirits or spirits of higher degree, so that if from any cause the help of one spirit should fail, his place is supplied by another. All right, guys, this is a very long. We're going to stop right here. When we come back next week, we will continue with question 511, because this was like, it's going to go on and on and on, and we don't need a 3-hour show. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed tonight's reading of the Spirit's book, and it gave me some insights. Hopefully, it also gave you some insights as well. I've been really enjoying reading these books to you. I hope I could find a really good book for Saturdays. Saturdays, we got to come up with something new to read. So I might just do a quick, like a poetry. We haven't done poetry in a long time. We'll see. We'll figure it out. But, yeah, there you have it. It was a very interesting one, was it not? Okay. So, yeah, that's it. I don't really have anything else to say. I already told you about the Christmas miracle stories in the beginning of this. So, trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, by the way, Odo died. The guy who played Odo, and also he was on Benson, and his name was Renee, and I can't remember his last name. He just died yesterday. The guy who played Odo on Deep Space Nine. I'm sorry, I'm lying. He wasn't on Deep Space Nine. He was on the other one, the other Star Trek. Anyway, it was Deep Space Nine too. It was too. I was getting that confused with Voyager. No, he played, on Deep Space Nine, he played Odo, the shape-shifting guy who, he like turned himself into like a liquid goo and like go underneath the door to go into a room. It was like really crazy, sort of character, but God bless him. God bless his soul. There was also a rapper that died. He was 21. That's like the third or fourth rapper that was age 20 or 21 to die in the past like year. So I don't know what's going on with the young rappers. I hope that this is the last one to go at such a young age. It's so, so sad. But, and why am I not? I can't remember his name at this moment. But anyway, God bless all those guys that died, and especially the 5 people that died in New Zealand, the travelers. So that's it, guys. We gotta go. I gotta go. Gotta get this one in the can, as they say, and publish it so you guys can listen to it. But, all right, that's all I can say about all that. Remember to roll with your hunches, accept your changes, and have a really good day. I'll be back tomorrow with all unique and original programming, just like always. And that's that. I'm signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the holy 5th dimension. Until next time, guys, peace. Do you ever wish you could look into the next chapter in your book of life and see what's coming next? What does the universe have in store for you? I can help you with that. I will give you a Celtic cross reading, which is 10 cards, or you can ask me 3 questions, and I use 3 cards per question. So that's 9 cards, or I can channel your higher guidance, or maybe God directly for you. Maybe you want to talk to your dear departed Aunt Edna, because maybe you have a few questions and she was the smartest person you knew. If your deceased relatives are available or your ascended masters, I can channel them for you personally. Let me have 1 hour to show you the future in your next chapter of your book of life. Readings are $75, and it takes me an hour to an hour and a half to complete. And for this price, you will also be hooked up to the healing grid around the planet for free, which means yours truly, me, I will be giving you Reiki 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of your life. All you have to do is let me know. MetaphysicalSoulspeak@gmail.com, and we will explore your future together.